Are casting their ballots today in the last big round of primaries before the midterm elections. 7 states and Washington, D.C. are voting today, the GOP trying to win back control of the U.S. House. A suspicious situation tonight at the Eiffel Tower in Paris. The landmark has been evacuated after a bomb scare. French police say an anonymous caller phoned in a threat. And President Obama today voicing his pleasure in the release of one of 3 U.S. hikers detained by Iran for more than a year. Sarah Shord thanked President Ahmadinejad earlier for her freedom. For more on these stories, visit foxnews.com. Glenn Beck returns in a moment, but first, Brett previews special report. Hi, Brett.
Hey, Betty Ann, coming up, a full preview of the big primary night ahead, plus the battle ahead over extending the Bush tax cuts. And the healthcare law lawsuit heads to court. Analysis of how it plays in 49 days. Join me at the top of the hour. Now back to Glenn.
Yeah. Homer Simpson, all he wants is a donut. Yeah, gotta be smarter than that. 2 years ago, if I would have said Cloward and Piven, would you have known who I was talking about? Do you now? No one 2 years ago wanted to believe that there was a philosophy to intentionally collapse our system. Well, the people who wanted to do it are right here. Cloward, Piven. Richard Cloward, Francis Fox Piven. They were Columbia University professors. Do you remember the tree of revolution we showed you before? This is how it started. You got Che and Saul Alinsky and the progressives at the very beginning, and they wanted to change everything. Well, nothing was happening. So in the 60s, SDS started in. SDS, Students for a Democratic Society. Well, this had all of the radicals. This had everybody down here. It had these guys, all of these guys, down here. Well, it wasn't working in the 60s. The radicals wanted to overthrow capitalism and have a revolution back in the 1960s. One side was violent. They finally just went nuts, the Weather Underground. One side didn't, because they listened to their professors, Cloward and Piven. They decided to go nonviolent. That was a better answer, deciding instead that they could bring around revolutionary change through collapsing America's economic system. Well, how could that ever be achieved? Well, by getting everybody on welfare, as many people out of work and on the government dole. It's a philosophy that we're now seeing with the unsustainable debt and overspending. You notice on the tree of revolution that there is no bridge. There's no bridge here. There's nothing that separates the violent from the nonviolent. The same trunk leads to both. You have it? These guys are just waiting. If this doesn't work, do they kick in? Now listen to the latest audio discovered of Francis Fox Piven and her views on violence. Because remember, violence isn't the answer. Here she is.
You know, it's a violent country.
It's us.
It's a violent government. It's killing people. And they're going to call us violent if we break a window. But they will do that. So probably, unless you have good reason for breaking the window, probably you shouldn't do that. Unless it's, you know, a big part of your strategy.
Unless it's a big part. So unless you're cracking skulls, I mean, if you're cracking skulls for skull-cracking's sake, well then no. No. She says earlier in this clip, you can find it at theblaze.com. She says earlier in this clip that, you know, hey, she doesn't have a problem with nonviolence. It's unbelievable. And she says if it's a bigger part of your strategy, so if you're cracking skulls because you're a numbskull, that's a problem. But if you're cracking skulls as part of a bigger strategy, well then apparently Okay, thank you, Francis. America, you're being nudged, and we've just been shown another example this week of nudging with Michelle Obama. It starts with carrots and French fries over apples, and then it moves into butter, and soon it becomes a shove. Because if you won't do the right thing when you're being gently prodded, they, of course, will, well, they'll have to become a little forceful. It's for your own good. There's more. We're not to the fry-its yet.